Brianna, hi. Welcome to the Female Startup Club podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Doone. I'm so happy to be here today.
I'm so happy that you're here. You're looking so fresh and happy and glowy. What have you been up to this morning?
This morning, just this actually popped up, did my emails, got a little coffee, and got ready for our talk today. So excited.
Love that. The morning routine.
The morning routine, yes.
Coffee's so important, so important.
Oh my gosh, I know. And the pumpkin spice is back. So, that I'll be all over that.
I should try that. I've never been there. I want to give that a bit of a go.
Starbucks, it has its pros and cons, but the pumpkin spice, when it comes around, it's really, it's a special time.
I am going to report back once I've tried this. So
you need to, for sure. Yeah, let me know.
I will keep you posted.
It's really good.
Give us the elevator pitch on who you are and what your business is, and then we'll kick it off from there.
Okay, great. I'm Brianna Bitton. I'm the co-founder of FLO Vitamin, and FLO is the first ever PMS gummy vitamin. We've been around for a few years now, and we're constantly evolving and now kind of transitioning into a company called O Positive that's going to house quite a few other vitamins for the female wellness space.
Ooh, love that. That's exciting. We're definitely going to...
We're growing and expanding. Yes.
Cool. Well, let's go back to, the very beginning, pre-starting FLO, and where your kind of entrepreneurial spirit and story actually begins.
So my entrepreneurial story is really credited to my parents. It goes back to childhood. Both of my parents are entrepreneurs. My dad is an architect and interior designer, and I also followed in his footsteps doing that before FLO and still continuing that business as well. And my mom is an inventor, and she has dozens of patents of very fun ideas. She patented the toy on the tube of hand soap to encourage my brother and I to wash our hands when we were little.
Shut up, no way, that's so cool.
Yes, and she licensed her idea to Colgate-Palmolive, and they made a whole line of her soap. So I was just raised by these two incredibly creative, loving humans who would just kind of really encourage Bobby, my brother, and I to just dream big and kind of follow our dreams and whatever we wanted. They were really into helping us flourish in that regard. So the entrepreneurial spirit really starts from there, and the family dinner table. We would have family dinners every single night, the four of us. It was very important that we all had that meal time together and would discuss work and school and ideas. And so I really attribute that to the entrepreneurial spirit that my brother and I have.
That is so cool. What a beautiful story. We have to get your mom on the show.
Oh my gosh. She would adore you. She would love that. Yes.
Oh my God. I'm gonna hook this up afterwards. Did FLO start around the dinner table? How did you get the idea?
You know what? It actually did. So Bobby, my brother, he's my co-founder. So he is, and our CEO. So he is an entrepreneurial business mind. He's just brilliant in that regard. He went to school for entrepreneurship. He is just really amazing with a business mind. And so he was working as a director of marketing at a baby company for baby products. And he was really interested in the vitamin and supplement space. He saw all of these companies and what people were doing. And he's very health focused and was super interested in it. And we were talking about how that might be something that he might want to create in the future around the dinner table. And my mom and I were posing the question of just like, what could it be, right? Like, what could this vitamin be? And I was like, I've never heard of anything for PMS and periods. And that was something I struggled with, something my mom struggled with. And the men in our family were very aware because of how crazy we got during that time of the month. So they were like, oh, wow, that's a good question. And I also am not a pill taker. I really don't like taking pills. Just like not fun for me. And I love making things more enjoyable. So we came up with the idea to make a PMS gummy vitamin. We researched all the ingredients to make that happen. And honestly, there are a lot out there. There are, we're so many herbs and botanicals that have been used for thousands of years to help women with these symptoms, but they weren't really, at least I didn't know about them. They weren't really known and they weren't really readily available and all in one package. So you could go to Whole Foods and get Cassberry and Donquay and, all of the things that are in FLO and take them individually. But we wanted to put them in a really fun, delicious, convenient package. So we researched that. Yeah. And went to the scientists to help us out.
Oh my God, that's so cool. I loved it when you have these kind of conversations that lead to a business idea when you're kind of like, you have no like understanding that this moment is going to lead to this other moment, which essentially creates a business and changes the course of your life. But it's like such an impactful moment to have had that conversation and where it flowed onto, I guess you would say. I love that. It's so cool.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's really cool. It just shows how having conversations with family and friends is so important, and talking about your ideas and bouncing things off of each other can result in such incredible things.
Like the power of language, essentially. That's so cool. So it didn't really exist on the market. Why didn't it exist? Was there any challenges that you had to overcome, or it just, people had attempted and it didn't work?
Yes. So we went through a lot of challenges. We went through about 2 years of R&D and production trying to put this together, because what we discovered is the ingredients of FLO taste terrible, and they're like herbs and botanicals, and they were not delicious. And our whole premise was creating a delicious gummy vitamin. So it was very challenging. Our first FLO samples were like black and like tasted like dirt, and we're like, oh my goodness, this is gonna take a while. So we worked with these amazing nutraceutical scientists who would just do iteration after iteration, and we adjusted the dosages and the milligrams of specific ingredients. And we finally ended up with our proprietary blend, and it, knock on wood, has been the magic potion and has worked beautifully and tastes great. So there were a lot of challenges just finding that balance of ingredients and flavor, because then, we tried to add a little bit more. We're like, oh, we'll add some more strawberry flavor. But then that started. So it was all a very meticulous balancing act of finding that perfect potion. So
What I find interesting is like in this process of R&D, you obviously don't set out thinking that you're going to pursue this for 2 years before you reach a formulation, right? It's such a long time. It's really expensive to develop a product. And you also have to have this crazy conviction and perseverance that you will get to the perfect product. And why I'm talking about this is because, and I forgot to mention this before we started recording, but I'm actually developing a non-alcoholic wine company at the moment. And so I'm experiencing how long this stuff takes, and like the negative sides of, formulating from scratch and trying to get to this perfect thing when, it's such a struggle, right? So in your circumstances and in your story, when you set out to develop the brand, are you able to share a little bit about how much money you thought you needed to allocate to basically get the product to market versus like what you actually needed to kind of invest to fund the business in the beginning for that 2 years, and how you were financing the brand in the beginning?
So we really didn't know at the beginning. We had no idea, how it would turn out. We talked to, our manufacturers, a few we were trying out, and they did require a deposit. Usually, that, from what I remember, the deposit included multiple samples and iterations. It was to go through a research and development process. So those, signing on with them and agreeing to, go through this process cost X amount. We were self-funded at first, just through our savings and our family. And after, and it just kind of got to a point where we were kind of deep in it. We're already like, all right, so we're doing this. You can't turn back now. We've gotten all of this, we've gotten so far, but really also our manufacturers worked with us really closely, and we're very open to different iterations. Like they realized that, like, okay, let's do another sample. So we were lucky to have some good partners too that wanted us to succeed and were open to having us continue on to get more samples. So that was nice.
That is nice. For your industry, as like vitamins as a whole, what are the MOQs like? Because we're finding, like, from our perspective, that the minimum orders are like, you can't just get a few hundred kind of thing. You have to order like thousands and thousands and thousands of bottles, which is obviously like really interesting because they're even like, you can't do like a few hundred samples, like just not possible. So it's like this really big commitment. And I'm wondering how, like, for your industry, what it was like for you and what you thought about it and how you approached your thinking.
It was. It was similar. It was, I think, in our initial order, it was by pounds, by like actual pounds of gummies, which was interesting. And we had to have a lot of faith and commit. The minimum orders were really large, and I don't remember exactly how many pounds, but it was a bit overwhelming, and we had to just kind of have a lot of faith and be like, okay, we believe in this product and we believe in ourselves and our ability to make this a thing. And we bought the initial stock, the initial order, and then just kind of hope for the best. And luckily, thank goodness, it ended up working out. And then we ended up selling out, and we had to then, because the lead times are also an issue, so with the gummy manufacturing too, when we started it, and also right now, it's a very popular way to make vitamins at the moment. And there's queues, and you got to make sure that you have your POs in and your orders in so that you don't lose stock. So that's also, important too. So you want to be cautious, right? And you want to make sure that you do go through all your stock, but you also too want to have, like, in case it goes amazing and great, you want to make sure that you have enough for your customers. So it's a balancing act of when to submit those POs and when to, okay, like, let's see if we get through this stock. So we had to have a lot of faith, and it's kind of a little a learning experience. And as you get more of a relationship with the manufacturer, you kind of fall into a rhythm. But at the beginning, it's very interesting to try to figure out that balance of like, okay, like when do you don't want too much, but you don't want too little. So
Totally. Gosh, all these things that I'm about to experience. And it's just so interesting to hear other people's perspectives and that having that, the leap of faith, like you say. I want to talk about your launch. You just said you sold out at some point. That's really, really exciting and very cool. I'd love to understand what you were doing in the lead up to launch with your marketing, how you were getting the word out there, and how you were creating that buzz and initial traction with your first batch of customers.
yes. So with our launch and marketing, it was really just Bobby and I. Bobby, we call it like our flow video. Bobby made this really amazing, cool, poppy video that said like PMS effing sucks, and that was going to be like our ad. So we really did a lot of it just at Bobby and I were living together at the time. So we were doing a lot of it at home in his office. And as far as buzz, prior to launch, it was really family and friends. And just kind of telling everybody what we were doing, asking our friends to spread the word. We had all of our girlfriends come over and try the gummy and had like a little like party kind of thing and gave everybody bottles and just really wanted to start creating that community of women who loved flow. And then very soon after launch, our reviews started coming in. And that has been by far the most impactful and phenomenal experience of all of this. So as soon as the reviews started coming in of women beyond our friends and family and myself feeling the effects of this vitamin and it helping their daily life, that's really where the traction and the word was spreading, and we were using, we were able to use those reviews as ads and really just create this community of women who love flow. So that's kind of how the ball started rolling.
Oh, I love it. Word of mouth is so key in a brand, and getting those reviews and testimonials to be able to add, social proof to your website and your channels, but also to, show other people that like your product is good and it's worth buying. Even I also think like reviews that aren't the best reviews, like, and you're able to use those as like an opportunity to provide excellent service and take it on board and kind of like highlight those as well, is something that I always see really interesting. I mean, when I was reading your reviews, they're all just amazing, but I've seen other companies do that where they've turned a negative review into like something amazing. It's just so important to have that built into your strategy, I guess you would say. After that early kind of traction that you were getting from the reviews, how did you kind of, really gain that crazy momentum, and what were you starting to allocate budget towards, and what was really important for you in marketing to kind of grow?
So as far, it's really still to this day holds true. And it's Facebook ads. It's Facebook and Instagram ads. And that is really the meat and potatoes of our marketing. And it's worked so far really well for us. So social marketing has been where we dedicate most of our budget, and also what has really seemed to have an impact. And a lot of people who I talk to or that I meet, they're like, "Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that on Facebook. I've seen that on Instagram." So whether it is resulting in a purchase or awareness, it does seem to really be working for us, and that's where we dedicate the majority of our budget to.
I was looking at your TikTok channel and literally cackling at the videos where you have someone going up and asking guys like, "What is a period?" And like, there was another really funny one that I can't. Oh, the getting them to do the period simulator cramps thing on the guys. Oh my god, this is so funny. Talk to me about your TikTok and, what kind of impact are you seeing with that now? And is it something that you're putting a lot of focus on?
So we are, but we're also kind of like experimenting. So TikTok, obviously, this incredible new medium that's popped up in the last. It's been around for a while, but the popularity has, popped up in this past year. I was like, oh, what is this? Like, avoided getting it for so long, and now I'm fully addicted. Like, it's hilarious how that happens. And so we acknowledged that it would be important for us to be on TikTok pretty quickly after, we saw this going on. And I have a really talented friend, Chloe, who is running it for us. And she and all of us have been kind of talking about how can we make fun impact, right? So every menstruator, every girl has a period and is affected by it, right? And is like, it's not fun. So it's something that is so relatable for all of us. And TikTok is such a place where you see all these relatable things. So like that's what makes you giggle and that's what makes you laugh, is seeing these like, oh my God, ha ha ha, like that joke or this dance or whatever. It's like a funny, relatable thing. So what we really wanted to showcase was that, we're all going through this together, and flow is a way that we can, all kind of be united. And also I think, there is like a funny educational side to this as well. So with our girl in Venice Beach going around talking to these guys, it's just kind of like, sir, like you're going to need to educate yourself a little bit more. So kind of just shining a light on like how little people know about menstruation and periods and PMS, and how one of my passions behind flow is kind of bringing a topic that has been so taboo previously to the forefront of our lives, and making it not a big deal to talk about. I was so growing up, oh my gosh, like so like nobody could know anything I was going through. I was like, absolutely not. And now I'm just like, yeah, I was like, yeah, like my cramps are terrible today. I mean, not anymore, but like, you know what I mean? So it's just funny. Like, yeah. So I think with TikTok, it's a great opportunity to talk about periods and PMS, bring it to the forefront of the conversation, and have a little fun with it, and be silly and relatable and fun.
Totally, totally. Yeah, I really like the approach that you're taking, and I can see why, like, it would be, it's a great channel because it is funny, but it is educational, which is, the key recipe for TikTok, basically.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So we're waiting for our viral one. So we'll see if we get.
I mean, you've had some good ones.
We've had some good ones. We've had some good ones, but we'll see.
We'll see. You've got to keep at it. I always love to ask this question. If you were to start the same business, exactly the same tomorrow, what would you have done differently in the beginning? I.e., what would you have spent more money on sooner? And what would you have not wasted the money on and not spent that money?
We have an amazing team. And I think, and it was just family for a while. So I think that we probably would have spent money on hiring sooner than we did. Bringing on some great, I mean, the people that we have are so magnificent. Our team is just amazing. So I think that maybe that would be one thing. So our first hire was CMO, and that was Martin, and he's a genius. He's fantastic. So I think he was imperative in our growth. I mean, absolutely superhero. And I think that having his guidance sooner could have been beneficial, but everything ended up working out great. But I think that we tried to do a lot on our own. previously. And so maybe that would be something that we would invest in sooner. And then something that we wouldn't. Trying to think. We've been pretty lean with what we've like product is obviously important to invest in. And product and people are number one, number two. I mean, I don't know, maybe an office space. Everybody's working from home now. Now we do have one, but we got one pretty early on. It was just like a WeWork or not WeWork. What was it? I forgot what it was. But yeah, a co-sharing space. And like as amazing as that is to have, everybody's working from home now. Everybody has Zoom. It feels like being in an office might be less necessary. So maybe wouldn't have done that so soon. Kind of allocated those funds to other things. But
especially if you don't work from, like, for people who actually go out and get, a proper like standalone office, rent a full space that's not part of a co-share, those costs can really add up. Even furnishing an office is pretty nuts. Like, especially when you're considering all the kind of like gear, like laptop, computer, all this kind of thing, and then, desk, seat, everything else that goes with it, and then the space. It's a lot. It's a really good one, actually, to think about and to really consider when you need to do that.
As an interior designer, I'm like, yeah, that can add up. Yeah. Like, oh, you're so right. Like chairs, desks, tables, everything, like that adds up for sure.
Absolutely. You said that, you've got a great team now. You're starting to move into O positive and building this new phase or a different phase of the business. Can you tell us a little bit about where the business is today, what it looks like, and what fun things you want to shout about, including O positive?
Yes. So FLO, is our baby, our first product, and where we really began. And then shortly after FLO, we realized that we were creating this community of women who cared about their health, and that there were so many other issues that we wanted to address that women go through on a daily basis, not just PMS and periods. So pretty soon after FLO, we realized that we wanted to create some other products pretty soon. And we created O positive. So O positive is FLO's parent company, and it's going to house and already has. So at the moment we have 3 products, almost 4. So we have FLO, we have GTFO, which is our immunity gummy, and that was really impacted by the pandemic. Bobby and I were quarantining together, and we don't have the strongest immune systems, and it's scary out there. We wanted to create something to give people, especially going back out into the world, the confidence to just boost their immunity a little bit. So GTFO, and also like germs, like GTFO, So and all of our one of our fun branding things is all of our vitamins end in the letter O, and our gummies are ring shaped. They're O shaped. So O positive, we have FLO, we have GTFO, and then a few weeks ago, we just launched Go, which is our fiber gummy that promotes healthy digestion and gets you on track, because that is a issue among so many women I know as well. I feel like all of my friends and I have digestion issues, and it's a constant battle. So we have that, and then we'll be launching another vitamin that we're all really excited about at the end of October, I believe.
Ah, so exciting. So exciting. Congratulations. How do you actually determine what product you're going to do next? Because obviously you have the idea, you think, oh, this is really great for me, but how do you then kind of validate your idea to determine whether it's worth it outside of you and your immediate circle?
Yeah. So we have a lot of ideas and a lot of vitamins that we want to do that are all really important to us. what's determined kind of what we have been releasing next, to be honest, is lead time and timeline. So some vitamins take just longer to make than others, whether it be getting the consistency right, or the blend is more complicated than another. The kind of trajectory of our pipeline has been kind of based on when we can have the product ready.
Got it. How long does it take to develop like gummies?
It depends. It really depends on what we've been working with. So FLO was such an innovative, never been done before product that it took 2 years. Our immunity gummy, we were able to get done a little quicker just because it was all vitamins. Instead of using the botanicals and the herbs were a little harder to deal with. And also just the relationships with our manufacturers has just become a little bit more secure, and we've been able to kind of put those POs in a little quicker. So yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Lots of different timelines.
Yes, lots of different timelines, lots of different things in the works, which is so fun. Because the essence of what we're doing is just creating a fun, enjoyable, healthy life for women, and we want to give them the tools to make that happen. So yeah, it's really fun and exciting, and also delicious taste testing all of them too.
I bet. It sounds exciting. What is your key piece of advice or tip for entrepreneurs who have that big idea but are a bit earlier on in the journey than you are?
Number one tip. I really think that dedication is key, and having faith in yourself, and also not being afraid to ask for help. That was like a lot. Am I just spitting out things? But I think being dedicated is really imperative. My brother is way better at that than me. He will have an idea and he will sit down and not stop thinking about it, dreaming about it, making spreadsheets about it until it comes to fruition. For me, I can have an idea and be like, oh, that's a good idea, and then like kind of go on with my day. And he's like, wait, that was a good idea. Yes. He's like, that was a good idea. You gotta get on that. And I'm like, okay. So he pushes me a little bit more to be the person that I wish I could be. But he has that dedication, and when he has that idea and he knows it's a good idea, he won't stop until he's got a full deck of a presentation and he knows exactly how it's going to get done. And I admire that so much in him. And I think that is something that made FLO and O Positive possible, was the fact that we had this dinner conversation, and it wasn't just like, oh, that's a good idea, and like moved on with our night. And like, he actually was like, he didn't let any of us forget about it. He wanted to make this happen and believed in it. And here we are. So
fast forward to today, crazy.
Yeah. So I think that is huge. And I think also asking for help is huge too. We had the family of 4 Bittons were like all hands on deck for, until our team really developed. We weren't afraid to ask our friends to model in our first photo shoot. And, just people will be so excited to see what you're doing and to get behind you. And so don't be afraid to ask for that support and that help.
Yes, absolutely. Leverage the people around you who love you and want to see you succeed, for sure. At the end of every episode, I ask a series of 6 quick questions. So I'm going to get started. Question number 1, some of them we might have already covered, but I ask them all the same. So question number 1 is, what's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing?
I think as as corny as it sounds, to try to make the world a better place, I guess, to help people everywhere. It's really special to have that impact to help people. So I think that's why.
I love it. So true, though, to be able to leave this world knowing that you tried to make the world a better place and you did something that, fulfilled on that mission. It's amazing. I love it. Question number two is, what do you think has been the number one marketing moment that made the business pop?
Ooh, okay. Number one marketing moment. I'm trying to think if there's one moment in particular. What comes to mind to me is our reviews by far, um, and capitalizing on those and really just like seeing the community that we've created and like being like, oh my god, this is so cool, and sharing that. Um,
Any work with influencers that did something really cool? Any PR that like drove crazy traffic or sales?
we've had some really great PR, which has been so fun. And then we have had some organic social too that's come in really cool. Huda Beauty posted about us once, um, which has been really cool. And also, we are on Revolve. That's the only we're exclusively through our website, but we also are on Revolve. So that personally for me was really cool. I'm a huge fan of what they do in Revolve. And so all of their posts and whenever they highlight us and us being one of their top performing products on their beauty avenue is really cool and really special. And that's been really cool for us.
Love that. Love it. Love it. Can't believe Huda posted. Crazy.
I know. We were freaking out. We were freaking out.
I would be freaking out. Question number three is, where do you hang out to get smarter? What are you reading or listening to or part of that you can share?
Interesting. Honestly, it sounds so silly again. Like my brother, I just hang out with him, and I feel like I'm like getting smarter by the day. Um, and my family, yeah, he's so brilliant. And yeah, he really just like keeps me sharp, keeps me informed. It's great. He's my little source of information.
Here's your black book. Very cool. Question number four is, how do you win the day? What are your AM or PM rituals and habits that keep you feeling happy and motivated and successful?
Ooh, if I can, I honestly, it's so silly. Like making the bed, like makes me feel like I'm put together. I sit down with my iced coffee in the morning, go through my emails, and I'm like, okay, like everything's gonna be all right. Like we get through it. And then winding down from the day, um, I have like an early 2000s like uh teen drama guilty pleasure. So I'm watching rewatching Gossip Girl right now. So I just really love to kind of like I work from home. So um it can get like a little chaotic to like still see your laptop and all your pencils and whatever out on your kitchen table. So I try to really like at the end of the day put that away, hide it in the corner, like light a candle, put on Gossip Girl, and just like relax and unwind. I think it's important to try to compartmentalize work and home, especially if you are working from home. It can get a little all encompassing and kind of all blend together. So I try to make that separation at the end of the day and just wind down and relax.
I'm so with you. It's really important to shift that like mood and ambience in the evening away, because otherwise you can just stay on your laptop, ongoing. You keep it open. Like if I don't like actually close my laptop, I'll come back to it, just being like, oh, I'll just do that one thing really quickly. And like you just kind of eventually your whole night has just been kind of like dotting around the laptop. And you're like, oh, this is so stupid.
And it's like, did you really ever stop working? Like, not really. So it's an effort.
Never switching off.
Yeah, it's hard to, but I think it's important. So I try. Yeah.
Good one. Question number 5 is, if you were given $1,000 of no strings attached grant money, where would you spend it within the business?
Probably Facebook ads. Probably our ads. That's really that, or I was gonna say like an influencer post, but I don't know if with 1,000, if you could get like the biggest bang for your buck. If you could get a bigger grant, maybe like a really great influencer post. But I think Facebook marketing would be where I would put it.
Nice. And last question, question number 6 is, how do you deal with failure? What's your mindset and approach when things don't go to plan?
I think it's a constant battle for me. It's something I'm working on for sure. Previously, it's been hard for me, but kind of seeing, being an entrepreneur and a co-founder now, and seeing how things work differently, you really just view it as a learning experience, because again, like I'm so like cliche, but sometimes cliche things are true. Everything always works out. At the end of the day, it always works out, and something always is meant to be or happens for a reason. So in an instance of failure, as hard as it is to kind of take yourself out of that, like being upset or being sad, I try to keep in mind that it'll work out. Something else is meant to be in the universe, whatever it may be. This clearly wasn't it. And have faith in yourself and the confidence in yourself that if something didn't work out, you have the power to make whatever the next thing is work. And it's going to be bigger and it's going to be better because you were able to learn from that experience. And clearly that failure wasn't the one that was meant to go. That wasn't what it was meant to be. So the next one will be. So that's kind of what I try to tell myself.
I'm with you. Sometimes it's really tough, but you've just got to, it's the mental game. You've got to really keep up with your inner dialogue. This was so cool, Brianna. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show. It was so nice to meet you.
So wonderful to meet you, Doone. Thank you for everything. Thank you so much.
I'm excited to watch the next products, the new releases.
Yes, stay tuned. Late October. I'm really, really, really excited about this one. It's I've been taking it every day, and it's one of my favorite tasting gummies that we've done so far. So stay tuned.